Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, indeed.
We have Sam J.
What up?
How you feeling this morning? I'm asking that question sincerely. How are you?
I'm well, a little tired, but
Okay.
I'm good. I feel good.
Because I said that none of us are the same after the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, I think I needed the break for the pandemic because I had just been touring for the special. So I had spent like a year kind of like doing SNL, then going on tour. So I was pretty like tapped out. So kind of the pandemic hit and I was kind of glad that it was something like forcing me to slow down
Where?
a little bit and like refresh and kind of consider what I wanted to do next. So in that regard, I feel pretty good, like pretty clear-minded.
Where'd you quarantine at? New York?
Yep. I was just in my apartment with my girl.
That's just not, I just don't think that's good for people's mental health to be trapped on this island.
I know. I mean, I did go away. I did go to DR for like a week.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And got out of here for a little bit. But it was good, too, to spend quality time with my girl, honestly.
Right.
I've been running around so much, we haven't, like, connected. So it was nice to just kind of play house.
Now,
Dope.
for people that don't know who Sam J is, tell them who Sam J is.
I'm a comic. I'm a writer. I'm a host of my own HBO show called Pause with Sam J that comes on Fridays at 9. I'm a black kid from Boston, you know?
Now, for,
Boston, now that's rare. A black kid from Boston
It's
is
not as rare as you think
That's
it
not
is.
that rare.
Really?
Yeah.
When you think Boston, you think whiteness.
Yeah, I mean, that's because they forced all the black people to, like, the corner of the city and kind of, like, hide us. But there's a lot of, like, black culture and black people in Boston. You know, Malcolm X started one of his first independent mosques there. Like, it's, you know, King used to go there. Like, Boston has a lot of black history. It's just not talked about.
Did you feel like Kyrie Irving disrespected y'all when he wiped his feet on the logo?
I don't really have a lot of feelings about Kyrie. I think that I don't know. He just has a personal with the city. But I think it's like a mutually messed up relationship.
Got you.
Now, when
you
did
a Celtics fan?
I'm a Celtics fan because I have to be.
Okay.
You ain't gotta be. You could come over here to the
Nah,
Knicks. You
I
come
can't,
Yankees.
I
You
can't.
know, you could everything New York you can do.
I gotta be, but like generationally, I'm really like a Lakers fan because I grew up on Kobe. Like when I was younger, the Celtics didn't have anybody, so it was really no one to watch. You know what I mean?
You just a rebel. You just like to go
In
against the
every
grain.
sense of the
You were.
word. I know.
Now, when did you realize you were funny? When did it say, you know what, I'm pretty funny?
I think when I was little, I knew like I was funny, but I didn't know that I could like be funny for money. You know what I mean? Like I was little, I knew like I could make people laugh, and like I knew I had like an ability to tell stories and like get people into stories, but I didn't have any like concept of like you could do that for money or like how to do it on this scale. I don't think I got confident in that funny until like way later in life. I started comedy about 29.
And when did that happen? When it was like, you know what, I could actually get paid off of this.
When I first got paid.
When was that?
The first show I got paid for was a show that happens at this room in Boston called Slade's. It's called the Black Comedy.
It's called Slaves in Boston?
Slade's.
Oh, Slaves. Okay.
And
That's why you don't get paid to be funny, Envy.
it's the
That's what I heard.
that's the and it was called the Black Comedy Explosion, run by this dude Jonathan Gates, and it was like I got paid like $300, and I was like, oh wow, I can make money, like or at least enough money to survive.
That's a good break down the difference, because you got all these people on social media, on YouTube, whoever, who think they're funny, right? But to know that you're funny enough to get paid for it, to me, that's a different level.
I mean, it's just like doing it though. You know what I mean? At first I just was trying something. I wasn't like, yo, I'm about to make mad bread. I was like, I just think maybe I could do this. And then repetition, and you keep getting up and you keep getting stronger. And I do think like a lot of people on YouTube, like what they miss is like live stand up is just it's a whole other beast that kind of teaches you a whole other skill. You know what I mean? It's easier to do something on YouTube and then you can like kind of take it down and edit it and like figure out how you're going to do it, just like making a TV show. But when you're on stage, it's happening in real time. So things are bombing in real time. You have to react to the bomb in real time. And I think that just like super sharpens your skills. And the more you do it, the more confident you get in it. And then, you know, if you get there, you start to make money from it.
Absolutely. You know, I'm 42 years old, and I was watching Pause, and I've never heard someone say nigga and bitch as much as you do.
I knew this was going to
You
come
sound
up.
like a Death Row album from the 90s. Have you noticed that? Like,
You know what? When I'm saying it, I don't hear it. But
Yeah.
if I watch the show, I'm like, damn. It's like niggas and bitches. But like when I'm talking, I'm just talking how I talk. It doesn't even like land on me until I'm like watching it back, and I'm like, ah.
no, I mean, it's refreshing because it's like that's how people do talk.
Yeah, that's what I wanted it to feel like. I just didn't want to like be adjusting who I was to like fit something that wasn't me.
Absolutely.
And I also just wanted to show like authentic conversations, you know what I mean? And not like these canned, more contrived situations. I was just like, I just wanted to be how people actually speak to one another.
Now, what does the title Pause mean? Because you know what I was thinking when I saw it? I was like, why are they naming it Pause? Is because she's part of the LGBTQ community? Like,
Yeah, kind of. I named it Pause just to kind of be jerky and kind of play with the homophobia of it all. And then also I think that's what the show is asking people to do is kind of like take a beat and hear each other out. So I just felt like it kind of had a little bit of a double meaning. It was some cheeky fun to have.
Is comedy too sensitive now where people can't necessarily make the jokes? Because listening to a lot of comedians growing up, they said whatever, but now it seems like everybody's walking that tightrope.
I mean, I think people are definitely more cautious of what they say because of like Twitter and like just the way culture is moving. I try not to be. I try to just tell the jokes that I believe in. And because I don't know, I feel like once you conform to that, you're going to always have to do that. You know what I mean? So I just try to like go the way where it's like, I'm just going to do what I believe in and you may like it or you may not.
I enjoyed the episode on cancel culture. That was the second episode. What were you trying to get across in that one?
I think like really what we were just trying to talk about was the kind of obsession with celebrity and also the relationship with it. Like the relationship Black people have with it. Why we even like chase it. You know, like I was talking to the Lucas Bros and some of that stuff didn't get in. But like, you know, in my opinion, there's a part of me that's like, I don't even know if I saw Black people like in my community being respected for the things that they were doing, being a teacher, being, you know, a bus driver and getting respect and being treated well by the police. I don't know that necessarily would like have chased fame. I was even talking to Sherrod Small about this. But it's like, that was the only thing I saw that looked like freedom. That looked like you could actually move around and do what you wanted to do and kind of like take part in America. So it was like, yo, if you want to be free as a Black person, you have to get up here. Other than that, it's not. There's no access to it, and I think that's a part of why I did it. You know, and when I was talking to Sherrod, he was like, he felt the same way when he saw when he was hanging out with Chris Rock. You know, that's his cousin. And he was like, yeah, like we saw Chris get pulled over by a cop, and the cop kind of just let him go. And me and Tony were like, yo, we got to get famous. You know what I mean? It's like
that's rare air though. Like, you know what I mean? Like the Chris Rocks, the Beyonces. I mean, even Oprah said she'd experienced racism in other countries when I forgot what store she said she walked into.
Hermes.
Yeah. So that's rare air, but I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think with the cancel culture thing, I don't even know if it's real, but I think people just want people to be held accountable, right? But all accountability is not created equal. You know what I mean? Like you can't treat somebody who put out an old tweet that was offensive the same way as you treat the insurrectionists on January 6th.
And also, like, who are we to demand accountability from people? Like, are you being accountable in your own life and in your own spaces? You know what I mean? I do think it's a little, like, lofty to think people owe you that in some way or form. Because they could be being accountable in their personal life. They could be making amends for these things on their own, which is a part of growth and a process. And it's like this demand for the public display sometimes I think is a little much.
Yeah, it's like a public lynching. They want to see a public lynching. That's what it is. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, how much do you get in trouble at home? Because you talk about your relationship a lot. How much do you get home and it's a beef or an argument or a problem or you sleeping on the couch?
Not often, but I mean, it has happened. You know, I think I had to learn how to do it. Like now I like include her more. If I'm thinking about talking about something, I like privy her about it and ask her if it's cool or invite her to come see the set and like allow her to at least be like, I'm not comfortable with this or that. And like when we first got together, I would just go up and say whatever I wanted because that's what I was used to doing. But, you know, I just had to smarten up. And then once I did that, it made it a lot smoother.
What was the biggest one?
You forgot she was a lesbian on the first episode.
I forgot she was there.
She's like, I'm the only lesbian here. I'm like, huh? She just kissed a girl?
I forgot she was there. I'm so used to my girl being around.
So what was the biggest one when you got in trouble for? When you went home, you was like, damn, I effed up now.
I feel like the one that bothered her the most was after the special, because I said she wasn't working. All these people were like yelling at her and telling her to sell her bags. And so I think that's the one that bothered her the most.
Oh, that's when she wanted to go find her own thing to do in life.
Yeah.
So how do you have that conversation?
I mean, I think it's just like anything. It's like time. I feel like she needed to come to it. You know what I mean? Not that my girl didn't already have her own thing. She was just in a transition. She used to own a hair salon in Atlanta on Auburn Ave for like years, and like had her own boutique and was a makeup artist and doing all that stuff. And you know, she was just in a kind of a place where it's like, what's next for me, type of thing. And now she's in her interior design mode and like has what she's doing next. So
how'd y'all meet?
We met in college. I'm in Atlanta at a club where two of my homies my homie got in a fight with her friend. My homie was dating her friend, and they got in a lesbian drama fight at Compound.
What is a lesbian drama fight?
Like, you know, drinks being poured, smacking, you know.
Yeah.
Lesbian stuff. And then, and that's how I met my girl. In the melee of all that.
So you just grabbed her, and everybody fighting, you just like, hey, let me talk to you for a second?
Nah, everybody was fighting, and my homie tried to drive the girl home. You know, my homie was being chivalrous, and it was like, yo, let me take you home. But the girl was still like smacking my homie up in the car and stuff. So we had to pull over. We ended up like pulling over in front of my girl's house, and it was mad hot. And she was like, hey, y'all come up and get some water, because, you know, they're going to be out here fighting for a while. So me and my other homie went and got some water, and you know, my homie's car kind of had stalled out in front of her crib anyway, so we went up, got some water, and I was like, man, I like her.
How did the fight end?
I don't know. My homie ended up taking the girl home, and then me and my homie, we ended up having to change attire. It was just a night full of drama.
Now, was it hard for you to get on board as a writer for SNL? Because, you know, clearly you're good in front of the camera. So what did you want? Did you want to be on SNL as a writer, or did you want to be talent? What was it?
I didn't really know what I wanted. You know, the opportunity kind of just came, and I did audition for cast, and then they offered me a writing position, and like initially it was a little bit of a sting, like, dang, what are they trying to say? You know what I mean? But then I was like, you know what? Like, this is just an opportunity to learn and grow in the first place, and like be behind the cameras is makes you more confident in front of the camera, honestly. So I think it was just a great learning process, and it felt like the right thing to do.
How did they even know you could write?
They didn't.
Wow.
Yeah, they didn't. I had never written a sketch in my life till my first week there.
Wow.
And it was bad. It was really not good.
Interesting. So you wrote for them for how long?
3 seasons, like.
And you said your first sketch wasn't that good?
It was terrible.
What was it about? What was your first sketch on?
I tried to write this thing for Ryan Gosling where he was like a dance instructor, like some dirty. It wasn't even me. It was like me trying to write what I thought the show wanted, and not even me like writing myself. It was like some dirty dancing type. Like it was nothing there in my voice at all, and I was just trying to do like, oh, I think this is an SNL thing, and it was pretty terrible.
I feel like SNL's too safe for you. You know what I mean?
I mean, you know what though? In ways, nah. I got to learn how to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I came in not knowing how to write sketch at all and not understanding my sketch voice at all. And I left going, oh, I can do this. And I also know how to produce a little bit. And I also, you know, understand directing a lot more than I did. So I think all of that informed the show. You know what I mean? I don't think I could have made the show if I didn't go through that experience.
Gotcha. Now, how did they tell you no? Do they put it up on a board, or do they have a room and everybody vote and they be like, nah, that ain't funny? How did they tell you no at SNL?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of ways that it happens when you first write, you know, and you first put the sketch up, you know, it's just the room. When they're reading it, if no one laughs, that's a good indication that it's not being felt. And then if it doesn't go to get made as a sketch, you know what I mean? Then you know. And if you do get that far, it's like, then you know at least it was funny. But it could still end up getting cut for time or, you know.
How was that feeling when y'all all in a room, right? And you pitch your sketch, and they just be like, nah, B.
Damn.
I mean, you know what? It's pretty helpless. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a stand-up, so it's like when you're bombing on stage, you can adjust. You can do something. You could make fun of someone's audience, or you could, just change the flow and the energy. But when someone's reading pages of a sketch and all you hearing is the pages turn and ain't no laughs and there's nothing you could do, you want to be like, yo, stop reading it, but you can't. You just got to kind of sit there and wait it out.
There's nothing I like more than watching people bomb. I don't know why. I'm serious. I like, if you see me laughing at the comedy shows, either because the person is really funny or they're bombing.
Damn, bro.
I don't know why it's like that.
That's dark, because, like, bombing, when someone's bombing, like, you can see the agony on them.
Yes. Now, I read how you felt like you were stepping out on faith after you left SNL. Was that before you got the show offer for Pause, or?
No, I mean, I left to do Pause, but I had never done any of it. You know what I mean? I had never had my own show. I had never, like, hosted a show. I'd never talked or interviewed people for whatever it's worth on camera. You know what I mean? So I really didn't know. And I knew I wanted to do something different. I knew I didn't want to, like, sit behind a desk, and I knew I didn't want to, like, have that type of energy. So I was really, like, just stepping out on a belief that I could make something different, and also I would be able to, like, execute it. But I wasn't really sure,
Yeah, I enjoyed the first episode too when you talked to the black conservatives, because I think the Trumpism of it all kind of blurs the lines, and there's a difference between just regular conservatives and Trumpers, and I think you kind of showed that when you interviewed the black conservatives.
Yeah, I think there's also there's a difference. I think we just lump black people into, like, okay, if they're black conservative, this is what they're on. And I think there's diversity within that too, and, like, diversity within those ideologies. So I was just really interested and curious to hear what they thought about, conservatism and why they were doing it.
Mm-hmm. And then she came out on that, or maybe I shouldn't have gave that away.
I mean, it's fine.
It's a couple weeks. Yeah. But yeah, she came out on the show. I was like, oh.
Yeah, that was surprising. Yeah, I did not expect that. You know what I mean? And it was weird because I could see that she was, like, nervous all of a sudden, like her energy shifted.
I saw it too. Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder what's going on over there. And then that happened. And I was like, whoa.
She's like, I had to go tell my mom. Let me go call my mom so she don't see it on TV first.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, that was deep.
Absolutely. Now, you got a joke about going to the airport with your partner, and a man came to help with her bags, and you wanted help with yours as well. Could you talk about that a little bit?
I mean, I just think that, like, when you're masculine or you're presenting masculinity, I think dudes just, they'll be like, all right, that's another dude. And, but it's like when they assert that masculinity to try to, like, flex on me, then it's like, nah, bro, I'm a lady. You know what I mean? I'll just switch it back. I'll just flip it back the other way. So,
But is that what you want, though? Isn't that what you want? Like,
no, I mean, I think that it's more complicated than that. I think that I'm just naturally this. And so, like, this is my vibe and this is my energy. And, just, like, meet me at my energy. You know what I mean? But, I have two older brothers. You know what I mean? I don't like to take out the trash. I do it because it's expected. But I don't like touching trash. And I'm not, I'm still a lady, man. Like, I think you could be connected to both things.
Mm-hmm. Is it complicated being a masculine lesbian, I guess?
No, I don't think so. Mm-hmm. I don't. It feels natural, so it doesn't. It doesn't feel complicated at all.
Got you. Yeah. Do you think the industry has been, like, welcoming and actually inclusive to, LGBTQIA folk, or is it just pandering at this point?
I think it's always both. I think there's people and there's platforms that are genuine, and then I think people ride a wave and go like, oh, this is what we got to do now. You know what I mean? So I think it's both things. I think kind of, especially when it comes to minority groups, it'll always be that. It'll always be a little bit of both of those things.
Do you think creatives are focusing too much on diversity and wokeness as opposed to what we're actually here for, which is the funny?
I think we all are focusing too much on diversity, and not that we're focusing too much on diversity, but, like, it's like we're focusing on the packaging of it, and not the authenticity of it. And I think that's problematic for all of us. I think we're all doing that.
Because does it matter if you got a room full of black people or LGBT folk if the material's not good? You're checking off all the boxes except for the two that one that really matters.
Right, exactly. And you can have a group of LGBTQ people and it not be diverse because they all think the same and they all, you know what I mean? I think diversity isn't just your skin, it's also having different points of view truly and hearing other points of view. So I think both of those things, you know, are required for a true diverse situation to be happening.
How do you?
Are you tired of the pause and I'm just saying what everybody says in the no homo thing after every time there's a gay
name
joke
of her show
or
is
something?
Pause.
I know, but is you tired of people saying it? I mean, that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking.
I honestly don't really care what people say. Like, I mean, I feel like, I don't know, I grew up in the hood. I've heard it forever. You know what I'm saying? To the point where I do think you have to question the intention behind things as much as you have to question the things that our people are saying. And so, like, nah, I don't really care what people say.
Do you think gay jokes should be off limits to straight comedians?
I'm not that type of comic. I don't think any joke's off limits to anybody, and I know I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this, but I just really don't. I think if you can make it funny and you add perspective on it, then talk about it. And like sometimes it's gonna work, and sometimes it's just not gonna work. But I don't think there's any joke that is off limits to anybody.
What gave you the idea for Pause? Because it's not your traditional talk show at all.
Well, I mean, me and Princess, you know, we would talk about it a bunch at first, and I think we knew what we wanted.
Salute to Princess Penny.
Yeah, and I think we knew what we wanted it to feel like before we even knew what we wanted it to like look like, you know? And I just knew I didn't want to be behind a desk. I knew I didn't want to be behind a desk. I knew I didn't want to be like throwing the like keys and I just knew that wasn't my energy. And I was like, okay, we got to figure out how to do this. So we were working on all these different mechanisms to get me from behind a desk, but they all just didn't feel natural and true either. And honestly, I was just drinking with my homie who writes for the show, Ryan Donahue. He came over, we were just talking about the writer's room and just, you know, random show stuff and hanging. And I was saying how the thing we had, which was like, I was going to be in a car with my homie and he would be taking me to these different like interviews and that would be kind of the monologuing of it. And I was like, well, that still feels kind of whack because it feels like I'm just forcing my opinion on my like homie, and that doesn't feel like natural and correct either. And it's just like, instead of a desk and me like going, you know, to camera, now I'm just laying it all on him, and that just felt off. And we were drinking and talking, and I was like, yo, it should feel like a party. Like, it should just feel like a hang at my crib when we have everyone over and everyone's just kind of saying what they think and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, that could be fire. And so I called Princess, and I was like, hey, man, I think we could do this like a party, da-da-da. And I was like, do you get it? And he was like, no, because I was a little drunk, so I wasn't explaining it well. And then I called him the next morning, and I was like, all right, let me lay this out to you, like clear-minded. And he was like, oh, that could be dope. Let's try it. And we just tried it.
Wow. And now you got 6 episodes on HBO.
Yeah.
How is it writing like I guess black jokes in front of white executives?
You know what? I can't think about it anymore because it's like they gonna be there. They not going nowhere. And if I keep writing around them or considering even the fact that they're in the room, then we never gonna get to like authentic black conversation. So I honestly don't consider them, you know, like the Sean Blayton conspiracy theory video at the end of episode 2. No one at HBO got it at all. They were like, we don't really understand what this is or why this is funny at all. And I was just like, it is. Like, trust me. Like, you know what I mean? Niggas get it. So we just go, like, I just can't consider it.
So they didn't even get the Dr. Umar reference.
Nah.
How'd you get to school before Dr. Umar?
Nah.
They didn't even understand that.
Yeah. But I can't even consider it. You know what I mean? Because you can't just keep these they're not going nowhere.
So you don't feel the need to explain yourself at all?
Nah.
I'm with you. So you don't ever feel the need, like, do they ask though?
Yeah, sometimes they'll ask like what something means or like, you know, what is this? I don't want to give the whole episode away, but this episode we were like talking about hoteps and they didn't like know what that was, you know what I mean? Or sometimes they don't even know if they could say a word. They're like, can we say hotep? Or is that like, are we allowed to say this or are we allowed to say that? So yeah, they ask questions and I mean, I don't mind answering questions, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to not do something because I'm like, they're here. Like, they always going to be here.
Did you, what's your favorite episode of the season? What's the one that, when it's all said and done and the 6 episodes air, what's the one you want to point to and say, if you want to know what Pause is about, that's the one you should watch?
The one that's coming out this Friday.
Okay.
It's truly my favorite episode, episode 103.
What's it about?
It is about really just as black people, why we put ourselves in boxes and why we put each other in boxes and like, how come we don't allow change and growth in our community in like a real way. And like,
We used to.
yeah, exactly. And like, you know, how we'll let Andre 3000 like be all these versions of himself, but we won't let like a dude next door change his hat. You know what I mean? And it's like, what is that about?
Yeah.
And like, how do we kind of break out of that and embrace ourselves? And even where my limitations are in that, you know.
I wonder if it's the construct of social media. Meaning like social media has like these rules, right? Like it's like these rules of blackness that exist on social media. And if you violate those rules, as you talked about in the, you know, I don't know if it was the first or second episode, that's when you get called Uncle Tom or a coon or this and that. You think that has anything to do with it?
I definitely think that has something to do with it. Somewhere along the lines, we got really strict with ourselves and like how we could be and what it even means to be us. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, I definitely think that has a lot to do with it. I also think it's access, though. You know, like when you're just in this environment, you don't really have access to a lot. It's hard to start to think about who you are. It's like you kind of have to get out of that to even start to expand yourself and like your ideas of your identity. You know what I mean? And I think we all do that. Like when I came out and I'm like, oh, I'm masculine center, this is what I am. I was very like, this is it. You know what I mean? This is the last thing. I'm doing the wildest thing I could do. And then, you know, I live a little more and see a little more. And I'm like, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not the last stop. And I think we got to get, all of us really, even black and white, have to get comfortable with pushing ourselves a little bit past what society is allowing.
Yes. And I also think that we have to, like what you're doing makes so much sense because it's like, yo, you got to push against it. And we can't stop growing just because we're afraid of what social media is going to say. Like you might have a snapshot of me or you over the last 5 years, but that's going to change.
Yeah, exactly.
And it should change.
And it should change.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So what's next for Sam J after pause? What does Sam J want to do?
I want to go back on tour. You know, I want to get back to doing stand-up eventually. This summer, I'm going to be shooting a show with Jack Knight, Chris Redd, and Langston Kerman called Bust Down for Peacock that we have been writing for a long time. And
Bust Down for Peacock?
Yeah, for the Peacock Network. It's called Bust
the
Down.
network?
Yeah.
I'm like, what? That's a long what does that mean, Bust Down for Peacock?
For Peacock
Okay.
streaming service. And that's like the thing that's immediately in the future. But beyond that, man, I just want to get back to stand-up. I would like to do another special eventually and give it the time, the just due of like really being on the road to build it.
A lot of pressure because people really liked your first stand-up.
I guess, you know, I can't think about that either. You just gotta go make it and hope, you know what I mean? But it's always some pressure. I felt like people like to stand up, so I had to like make a good show. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. Well, Sam J, give me your Twitters and Instagrams and all that good stuff.
My Twitter and my Instagram are at Sam J Comic, SAMJAY Comic.
And pause is every Friday at what time?
9 o'clock on HBO, and then it goes up on HBO Max.
Absolutely. So y'all check out Sam J. It's The Breakfast Club.